Oppenheimer, let's talk about it. Blew up on the scene this summer. Of course, the pun is intended, but was it worth it? Was it great? Was it good? Was it subpar? Was it slaw?
This is a national emergency.
Detonator charged.
Why? Why? How about because this is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world?
First, let's talk about Oppenheimer itself, and then we'll get into the competition. I just want to touch on three things that I really liked about it. And just straight spoiler alert, I'm just going to tell you the movie lived up to the hype. So that's one great thing about it. That doesn't count my top three, but Oppenheimer lived up to the hype. When I saw the previews, I wasn't intrigued at all. I was like, no, none of the previews made me want to see Oppenheimer. What made me actually want to see the movie was some high school kids were talking about it. And they said how great the movie was. So I was like, wait a minute. That was very surprising to me. If high school kids were talking about, and they said that it was the best movie they've seen all year. So after that, I had to go see it for myself. The music, the scoring of the music, A1. You're not going to find better scoring of music. You have to have the music to fit the mood of that movie and the effects. And it was great. Great job. There wasn't any modern day music or even old school music where you're like, okay, yeah, I know that song. Even when they were driving in their cars or doing work, no music was paid. So Oppenheimer didn't pay anybody. The length, 3-hour movie, probably over 3 hours, but it's one of those movies where you're not falling asleep. You're not looking at your watch like, hurry up and let this be over. It's not one of those movies where you're like, they could have did it shorter. So the amount of time was good, and that's rare. With a 3-hour movie, that was another reason why I didn't want to see it. I don't want to watch no movie that's that long, but it was worth it and well written. You're not going to figure the movie out. The movie was well written. Of course, you think, okay, it's about these people creating a bomb, but it's way more than that. Definitely, like I said, I recommend this movie. Now, some things that I really didn't like about it, of course, there was no diversity in it. I saw one black female in it. That's it. And they probably could have just kept her out. But they were on college campuses and traveling, different things. And yes, I get it. That era and time, a lot of black people weren't on the scene. You know what I'm saying? There was still segregation and things of that nature. But for me and my money, I like to support my own. I support everybody, but if I'm gonna pay, I want to see somebody that looks like me, and that's just normal. That's just normal. Factual. From what I've seen, a lot of it was factual. Those based on true stories, I love watching those. First of all, we'll get into another movie, Sound of Freedom, that was based on a true story when we start comparing them. But based on true story movies, I love it. Even though we know some of them are exaggerated, I don't think this movie exaggerated a lot. Because think about it, there was no fight scenes, no kidnapping, no espionage. Well, okay, I take that back. But you get what I'm saying. It wasn't like Mission Impossible or one of those movies or Fast X. So they didn't have to embellish on things, which Fast and Furious isn't based on true movies anyway. All right, so let's compare it to the other movies that came out this summer. Of course, I'm going to keep it short. Beginning of the summer, you did have the Fast X came out. And I'm going to talk about the money, too, because that's a big part of it. Fast X, their budget was $340 million. Let that sink in. They spent $340 million on that movie. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I actually heard that movie was very good. I'm going to check it out. But that's more so digital. You had that one come out, $90 million budget, by the way. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Elemental. But I wouldn't compare them to like quote unquote real life type movies. Then you have one, actually two that were kind of on the edge. You have Barbie and Little Mermaid. Barbie was actually $145 million budget. Not sure what the Little Mermaid budget is. Didn't look that one up. But I know that both of those did well. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, wanting to see someone that looked like you. So Little Mermaid was good, especially for little girls of color. And then of course, on the flip side, there were some people mad about that. So that lets you know, you think it's not important for you to be represented in these movies and music and things and go places and at least kind of see someone that looks like you. Even though it's good to learn from others and mingle with them, I love it. If anybody loves it, I love it. But you do want to see someone that kind of represents you that you can cheer for. Barbie was one of those movies, came out late as well, whereas like Fast X came out at the beginning of the summer. Barbie and Oppenheimer kind of reeled it in and came in last in the summer. Mission Impossible, $290 million. I have not seen Mission Impossible, so I couldn't tell you how it compares to that. Of course, I didn't go see Barbie: A Little Mermaid. That's just not my cup of tea. You have movies like Joyride, Indiana Jones, The Flash. Poor Flash. They spent $200 on the movie budget and then $65 million on marketing. Let that sink in. They spent $65 million on marketing alone. They probably should have spent some more money paying the writers or the actors because that movie flopped. They did not make the money back. Sad to see. The Blackenings. The Blackening was a great movie. If you haven't seen The Blackening, and I'm not just saying that because people of my ilk were represented. Blackening. Guess how much they spent on The Blackening, first of all? $5 million. Out of all these movies that came out in the summer, Blackening spent the least amount of money. So you could say, pound for pound, it's up there. Pound for pound, it's a must-see movie. Just like I said, Sound of Freedom is a great movie. They spent $14.5 million on that. But when it comes down to, I will say this. If Oppenheimer isn't the best movie of the summer, it's 1A, 1B. Like, it's right up there. Because again, I said the scoring, the music, the effects, well written, you're not gonna guess it. And the time goes by, I checked my watch, it was about 2 hours gone. I was like, oh, and they still getting into it in this movie. So very good. And of course, movies that's based on a true story that's good. Normally, at least I know I do, I'll go look up some stuff on it about it. But a lot of stuff I was familiar with. I'm not saying I'm a physics genius or quantum physics and all that, but I was familiar with some stuff because I have worked in nuclear pharmacies and things. So it was good to hear some terms and some things like the cyclotron that I've dealt with. But again, it's not about me. It's about Oppenheimer. I would suggest seeing it. It's still going to be in theaters for a while. Barbie's still going strong in the theater. So if you want to see that, I did hear it was good, and not just from anybody with pretty good sources. So definitely check out these movies in the summer. You have some more that are coming out in the fall. I'm actually about to preview 2 more movies very soon. Within the next week, I'm going to preview 2 more movies for you guys. But take my word for it, you won't be disappointed with Oppenheimer. Even though you may look at it like I looked at it like, I don't want to see that. If you watch it, you will not be disappointed. All right, until the next episode of more movie reviews, be blessed.